All right. Hello, I'm Aloysius. I'm the owner of Haunted Harbor Tours. Let's see if I can find a link to this. Do, do, do. I know. All right. Hold on 1 second. We're going to... We are going to link this out. Sorry, this is not something I normally do. I'm very new to this. Let's see, here we go. Okay, move this out of the way. Let's see, and we need a link. Post this copy. Live streams tonight, by the way, guys. If you're watching this after the fact, you can press L a few times. To get to the point where there is something happening. We're just waiting for some people to jump on. I don't think we're going to get a whole lot. I think 3 people have reached out to me and told me that they're not going to be able to make it tonight. I know a 3rd who really wants a tarot reading is not necessarily going to be able to make it on tonight. I think he has to drive to Denver, and so therefore he might not make it. So we'll see. I will say that as of late, and if you jump in, just let me know in the chat if you're here, so that I can know. All right. Yes, Michaela, we will be doing some ratings tonight. If you type tarot with an exclamation point after, you are the first to be written down as a tarot reading. Unless there are 2 people who didn't get it last week. So they are potentially ahead of you so long as they come on. Which is... Sad Shepherd Girl, who I know won't be making it tonight, and Deco. If either of those 2 make it on, they're in. But as of right now, you are the first to be on tarot, so long as you have to type tarot with an exclamation point. You don't actually have to type that. Should I put you in for the first reading, Michaela? Yes, excellent. All right, then today we are using, let's see. There's the pen I put aside for it. So, what's up from Mobius? Not much. How you doing, Jay? I don't even see a screen name. Mobius, not much. How you doing? Mobius, Jay. Oh, is this cousin? Is this my cousin? Okay, let's see. Now, Michaela, how'd you hear about me, by the way? Mikayla. And Jordan, would you like a tarot reading? If you would, all you have to do is write tarot with an exclamation point. And we'll be doing these in a little bit. We're going to kill some time as well. We're going to... I'll be honest. I have been very busy. And thank you guys both for joining. All you have to do... Where from your D&D? Oh, both of you guys are from my D&D. Excellent. Well, thank you guys for joining me. Okay, so Jordan's getting one too. Yes, actually, now I know exactly who you 2 are. So, it's amazing, by the way. I've been trying... So, you guys asked me yesterday about whether or not I'm a streamer or whatever. Really, it was the fact that in 2021, like in 2020 when everything shut down, I set up the my webcam background, and I was like, oh, this is actually not a bad idea. I should start streaming. Because when I was on webcam, it looked like I was in a set. And so my earliest videos, I just spent like a bunch of money that I had in my absolute panic of the world shutting down. I redesigned my room to make it more set-like, put myself right up against my bookshelf, and started telling a few ghost stories that I pulled from the Library of Congress. And by the way, if anybody here hasn't subscribed yet, you'd be doing me a huge favor by subscribing. And remember, we have 2 people signed on for tarot readings tonight. If you want a tarot reading, you just got to write tarot with an exclamation point, and I'll put you in. And at some point, I'm going to have a bot that will actually put you in, but obviously I'm not that advanced yet. So I've been trying to get this YouTube channel up. My my biggest night that I ever had up to this month was a night where I just randomly, a TikToker released a video about standing outside of the Ursuline Convent in New Orleans, and she was like, "Did you know a bunch of nuns took vampires in caskets and brought them into this Ursuline Convent? And to this day, the reason why all the windows on the top floor are sealed shut are because a bunch of vampires live there." And she was referring to the Ursuline nun vampire myth that I debunked, but is really cool because, what casket actually meant was a big suitcase that opens on a hinge, right? A casket is called a casket because it's a big wooden box that opens on a hinge. We still use caskets to this day, although we typically call them coffins. A coffin is one without the hinge. Anyway, it's kind of like the difference between graveyard and cemetery. But so I told the true story of the Casket Girls and why a bunch of women were brought over, stayed with a bunch of nuns with caskets. And that video that day, because of that one random TikToker, just shot my channel up. And I had 19 hours of watch time in a single day. But last week, with this live stream right here, my viewership went all the way up to, what was it? It went all the way up to 24 hours, almost. Just a little bit above that TikTok day. And I've never seen so much traffic. And it was very low viewership, but massive amounts of watch time from all the awesome people who stayed with me and watched through my live stream. And so if you are joining me on the live stream, you 3 right now, thank you guys so much for coming. And so we're just sharing this out right now. Hopefully, and the more I do this, I imagine the more people will start coming and attending and looking forward to 9 o'clock on Tuesdays. I don't know. Tonight we're getting a bad turnout. I think I might do Wednesdays. I suspect Wednesdays might be better. I'm not positive. I really don't know. I'm just trying to figure all of this out. And typically I try to have a ghost story. And I want a ghost story tonight. And I was actually all day, I've been so focused in my editing. I've got a very artistic YouTube video coming out. And actually this week I did something very experimental with the story of, actually if you're a fan of D&D, you'd be might get a kick out of what I just put up. I told the story of basically a death cleric assassin, and the origin of a death cleric assassin. It's based off of a D&D character I play, but the origin of a gravedigger in a land of the undead, and how he became a murderer of zombies, a death cleric assassin. Which is, I mean, I had a lot of fun creating that kind of myth. And that story also includes a Kenku. If you're a fan of D&D, you probably know what a Kenku is. And so I've been working a lot, but I want this month to have a Christmas ghost story each week to tell. Might just be 3 of us tonight. Maybe others will jump in and on, off and on. We'll see. But it looks like it's probably just going to be the 3 of us tonight, huh? So this week I researched a lot of the origin of Cinderella. And it ends up in Cinderella. There was a lot of change. We don't even know where the original version of Cinderella came from. It's most likely Cinderella is actually an Asian fairy tale coming out of China, most likely, or one of the Asian areas. And in the earliest versions, it wasn't a fairy godmother who did all that for Cinderella. But in the earliest versions, it was an animal parent, a mother who had been turned into an animal or a talking tree or something along those lines, who was giving her the gifts. And here's why I was researching this, because a lot of the earliest versions have Cinderella as a humanoid goose, and that she is not only forced to clean the house, but she's also cursed with the appearance of a goose, which is, I don't know, weird as heck. But that's the original version of Cinderella. And I was trying to find a good one to tell today, but I just wasn't feeling any of them, honestly. First of all, Cinderella. I mean, I love, I love fairy tales, and I love especially the early versions of fairy tales, in the era of the Grimm's fairy tales and all those bleak things. And Hansel and Gretel is literally just a grandparent telling her kids about the Black Death, right? That's what Hansel and Gretel is in its truest form, is the whole motivation of them being booted out of the hut, the hatch, away from the family, is because if those kids stay in that house, there's already death in that house. Somebody's sick, a grandparent, a parent, and to stay in there is to die. So they force the kids out of the house, force them into the woods. And in that period, in the 12th, 13th century, when the Black Death epidemic was really hitting, it's what you had to do. Anybody who's in that house is going to die of it. So you sent them away. And so that fairy tale was actually likely born from the grandparents, telling them, their grandchildren, of their childhood, what it was like, and doing it in a way that, kind of lets them know what history was, but also teach them something, right? Have some fun, a witch and a candy house. It's the kind of the fantasies that these kids had as they were in the woods. So yeah, that's why I was looking at Cinderella. But then I found something really interesting. So I'm really interested in the history of winter holidays, and specifically, ghosts used to mostly be in winter holidays. And January 14th is an old French holiday. It was celebrated in France every January 14th in the 14th century. It only lasted 1 century. It was abolished by the 15th century. and it is called the Feast of the Ass. And it is a French Christian holiday in which everybody dresses up like a cow or a animal, and they slaughter an animal and they serve it, but they prance around a church mauling, making the sounds of the animal while dressed like an animal and mauling. And obviously the Christian church is like, yeah, no, this is like straight out of like Noah's Bible. We're abolishing this. But yeah, it's a very bizarre French holiday where it's basically just people behaving as though they're animals and then consuming, I think, a donkey, but I'm never quite sure on what they're actually eating. All right, so fuck, man, we only got 2 people? And did a third drop off? Is anybody here? Just the 2 of you guys, huh? All right, well, we're going to hopefully get more in there. And whoever, if there is a third person on here, know this. If you type tarot with an exclamation point in the chat, I will be giving you a reading. And we're going to switch over. With only 2 people in here, I'm definitely going to stall a little more because once I finish the tarot readings, there's no reason. Typically we do the tarot readings an hour in anyway. I wasn't really feeling like we should do that tonight. I was expecting a lot more. So we'll probably just have a short stream tonight, unfortunately, considering only 2 people have joined. But we got 4 now. So if you do want a tarot reading, just type tarot in the chat with an exclamation point behind it, just so I know. And what we're going to do is I'm going to show you guys some of the more historic tarot decks while we wait for more people to jump in. Have you not been able to hear this whole time, or was it just when I moved? Did I accidentally press the button on my blue? Did I press the button on my blue when I was moving? I'm so sorry about that. I'm assuming it was when I was moving. Otherwise, I've been ranting for about 15 minutes. Totally muted. Just when I moved. Okay, good. Thank you, Michaela. I am grateful that you pointed that out. Okay, so I have 2 very early tarot decks here. Okay, so odds are, if you're familiar with the tarot, you're probably most familiar with these 2 cards right here. We'll do that. You're probably more familiar with this. This is the Rider-Waite deck. This is one of the most commonly known tarot decks on the planet. However, these were printed in, I think, 1910s. This is one of the oldest full collections of tarot cards. It's the Visconti. Typically, golden tarot is just an association with very old tarot. I don't particularly like this deck because it is so big. But this type of deck, I mean, this is actually a deck that was printed. Now, this is a reprint, obviously. This is not the original deck. They would have been hand-drawn back then. But they were printed in this kind of Renaissancey medieval style. And so this one is an actual Italian family commissioned this tarot deck to be made from a illuminated manuscript kind of style. It's one of the oldest, and like, so you get cards like the Hanged Man and Death, and obviously these are reprinted. I imagine probably cleaned up and touched up. I don't know the full history of this exact deck. I don't use it very often because even a regular tarot deck is difficult to shuffle, but this one, even I can barely get my fingers around it, right? Like, most decks are so much easier to use. I'm glad. Thank you. So anyway, this is old medieval, kind of Renaissanceian style. Wow. I don't look at these very often. Because it's near impossible to shuffle this deck, I really just kind of leave it in the box. But even back then, you know, there were no images associated with the minor arcana. They were just cards with an abstract image for each one. And you would have to use the Kabbalah, I imagine. I don't even know if the Kabbalah was associated with them at this point. I would imagine it was the Golden Dawn who connected those. But, so right around the same time that the Golden Dawn, an organization of magicians, were creating the Rider-Waite deck, a cigarette company, literally named for the man who ran a shop in London. His store was famous for the black cat who would just sleep in its window, the store window. And so they literally took the nickname of his shop, which was the Black Cat, because it always had a black cat in the window, and took that as his new company name. And eventually he made, this Londoner was like the first man of London to do factory machine-made filtered cigarettes. Black Cat cigarettes, I think it got its start in like the 1830s. Black Cat Company got its start in the 1830s, and in the 1909 or so, they started selling these cigarettes with stamps inside of the box. So the stamps, coupons, could be used to redeem things. Let's see. Such as... And this is literally the oldest tarot deck I own. I mean, this is a reprinting. This one is actually old enough for me to own. So if you, inside of each pack of cigarettes, which were like a tin, like a flip open tin, inside there was a coupon. And if you collect enough coupons, you could get things like 170, you get like a free camera. But also in there sometimes were various stamps. And these stamps were various things. And if you collected them all, I think you could win cash prizes and stuff like that. And so this is one of the Black Cat stamps. A series of kind of oracle tarot cards. And each one has a meaning. Each one has a meaning that's contained within this book. So like 24 here is the heart. a sign of great joy, happiness, and harmony. And it's a full collection, all 35 cards, and they're essentially a early oracle deck, in just following the printing of the Rider-Waite. And it's definitely one of the coolest, strangest decks that I own. These, basically tarot cards included in a cigarette pack. It's like the Apple Jacks of the 1800s in London, or Cracker Jacks. What do you call them? Cracker Jacks, right? All right. So we got 4 people in here. Does anybody else want a reading tonight? If you want a reading, just type tarot with an exclamation point in the chat, and I will add you to my list of 2. Nobody? We'll give it a minute. Okay. And so here are the decks that we have on offer tonight. We are not going to be using the Golden Tarot. It's not a deck I use. It is a deck that it's historic, it's beautiful, but it's not a deck for use. It's honestly not made for shuffling. So let's see. So we're going to have a couple of decks that we can choose from tonight. Last week we had a different series of decks. Tonight we have these. All right. Returning from last week, we have the Neon Moon right here. This tarot deck right here is cyberpunk in its theming. It's my favorite deck. I'm probably going to use this just about every night I do tarot readings. It's super cool. Instead of using cups, swords, wires, wands, stuff like that, they're going super sci-fi and just making up words. Like arms are essentially swords, but they also have zents, which are instead the coins. And so that is one deck that we can use. We also have, I don't know, man. Sunday night might be better, honestly. On Sunday, last week, I had like 6 or 7 people. Tonight it's very, very limited. I'm kind of bummed. But I understand some people are off at movies. Some got held up at work. So this is one of my favorite decks. Number one, if you look at the side of this deck, you have this amazing silver leaf. I doubt it's really silver. But it's a metallic leaf. This really amazing shine. And then each of the cards are vibrant and colorful. And what's really cool is if you lay them end to end, they actually paint a big picture. Each one of the minor arcana. So like all of the cups laid from ace to king create a big long story. And a big long image. I did a YouTube video review of this deck right here. So this is one of the decks we can use for a reading tonight. And then we have the Naked Heart Tarot, which, I'll be honest here, I'm not a super big fan of. It's all abstract. Julia C. Wilde did something amazing with this deck, right? Like, she managed to get the indie tarot movement started. This company right here, US Game Systems, rejected her for her tarot. And they said, oh no, we don't print abstract images. Like, this would not fly, according to US Games. You know, a sword balancing on scales as justice, no, that's no good. And, you know, a lion with wings for strength, absolutely not. They did not want anything to do with this. But obviously, she knew what she was doing. And she went and took this to Kickstarter. I believe it was Kickstarter. It was in the early days. And she got this fully financed and funded. And she made her own deck. And she successfully kickstarted the indie tarot card movement. Where now it's like, you don't want to buy a deck from anybody who's not an indie artist, right? Like, we got really cool decks coming out of the indie movement, and we got some that are still being made by, like, the cool companies. But this is the company that rejected her in the modern day. I've never opened this. I kind of just have it as a... It's one of two that I just have as a... Actually, this isn't even US Game Systems. No. This isn't US Game Systems. Hold on. I'm going to go get an actual US Game Systems deck that's similar. Hold on. Neither of these are US Game Systems. Okay. Well, I'm just very wrong. These are from a company called Low Scabbard. Huh. Okay, so we're going to open these two up. These are two options that we have for tarot readings. I've never opened these. They're pretty much... I bought them as a laugh, right? A Ghost Tarot and the Haunted House Tarot. I'll probably do a review on these at some point. Like, I bought them because I thought they were hilarious. I've never even looked at these cards. So, the Haunted House and the Ghost, and they're both made by the same company. It's very strange to me. So this one, it has artwork by David Corsi, and this one, Sasha Graham. And so we're gonna open these up, and we're just gonna take a look at and try to figure out what the heck is going on with these decks. And if you would like a reading, really, still just 4, huh? Okay. So, the Ghost Tarot. Oh. Okay. Well, yep, that's about... it's a little bit better than I expected, honestly. Not gonna lie. It's got more color than I imagined. Yeah. It's just a bunch of transparent figures and... a little more interesting backgrounds than I expected. Alright, well, there's that. And then I imagine the Haunted House Tarot is the same. But we'll find out. bird freaking decks. So these are two of the decks that we can do. Haunted House Tarot. Honestly, I don't even know why this is called the Haunted House Tarot. Okay. Well, the major arcana, I guess, maybe. So. Okay. Well, that's an interesting deck. You got a little voodoo doll here for number 4. You got spiders attacking frog spiders? What are those? Frogs or spiders? I don't know. Attacking a church? Bizarre. All right. Well, so yeah. We can have readings from the Neon Moon. What is this called? The jeez, man, that's the problem. This is the Line Strider. No, not the Line Strider. The Illuminated. Shit, man. The Prisma Visions. That's what this is called. Why he wouldn't put the title of it on the book, I don't know. He made it very difficult to remember the name of this thing. The Prisma Visions, the Ghost Tarot, the Haunted House Tarot. We can do the Naked Moon Tarot. And we can do Elements of the Source, which is an oracle. Although, really, we're actually not going to do that one tonight. And we can do this one, another unopened deck. We're not going to open it right now because I'm sure people just want me to get to the readings. We can do the Witches Tarot. Actually, fuck it. Let's open it. So, again, if you're just joining us, if you write tarot with an exclamation point in the chat, you can get your cards read. I don't think Tuesday night is the successful night to do a live stream, though, at 10 o'clock. Maybe I should do either earlier or, I don't know. Not on Tuesdays, though, that's for sure. Yep. It's got the symbol of Hecate on the back. Yep, this is a fantastic deck. I'm definitely doing a review on this one. Love the art for the Fool. So anyway, I have a huge collection of tarot cards. Let's check this. Ooh. Yes. All right, you know what I want to check? 7 of Cups. It's actually a really good way of doing the choices. I don't know why there's a wizard there, but I'm down for it. What about... Where are wands? Okay, here we have wands. 6 of wands, 7 of wands, 8 of wands. It has 8 wands flying through a field. Fucking hate the 8 of wands. The 8 of wands is straight up, and this isn't bad. This is a point perspective. This isn't bad in comparison to most of the 8 of the wands that I've seen. Ugh, I hate 8 of wands so much. All right. So, let's see. First up, we have Michaela. Michaela, do you have a deck you would like to choose? Michaela, if you want to choose a deck, you can let me know. Darn, man. I was expecting more people. Prima Vision. Nice. Okay. Are you still there? That was 9:38. Yeah, you're still there. Yes. Okay. Prima Vision. Which is... this ugly deck. Booyah. All right. And what we are doing now is we are asking the universe to put Michaela into our minds. And one thing about this deck is if you do pick up the Prima Visions deck, know that it is one of the most difficult decks to shuffle. It's only a great bit easier than the Golden, but this gold or silver leaf or whatever kind of leaf is around it makes the card so much thicker and more difficult to bend. But we are asking the universe to have the cards in order for Michaela in 6 shuffles. So 6 shuffles from this one. It's to be in order. 6. And in 5 shuffles. And 4 shuffles. And 3 shuffles. And 2 shuffles. And in 1 shuffle. Okay, now, Michaela, A or B? A is the top of the deck, or B is the top of the deck? And with doing that, you're choosing the inversion state. So A here or B here? B. Okay, so this is now the top of the deck. This is the bottom of the deck. As is usual, it's inverted for you. And I'm the reader. So it faces me when it's right side up. This is your soul card. This is the conflict that crosses you. This is your distant past or a goal. Here we have your more recent past, and here we have your near future. This is something that's caught on your mind. And then 1, 2, 3. These cards are your influences. And here we have the outcome to be learned. And first we have the Lovers inverted. The Lovers inverted. Well, that's very interesting. So in your soul card, we have somebody who has found their fighting force to fight alongside them. They're equal. They're a person of connection. And this is a soul card of two people in battle together. It being inverted, it depends. Inversions can be light and they can be heavy. A good card is a good card. For instance, the Sun card with an inversion is maybe being more selective in what you want. The Lovers card inversion, because I will say, if anything represents the two people I met over Livestream, it's pretty parallel to this card. So I would say it being inverted might just mean, there are compromises that have to be made or something along those lines, right? It's hard to say necessarily why it's inverted, but this doesn't come with the same heavy tone as the inversions of other cards have. We'll know a little more about why the Lovers is inverted as we go, potentially, and we'll find out about that. So here we have the Two of Wands. Okay, so this is also inverted. And now we have it. So what I would say these two in connection is it is saying that you two may be getting really comfortable and not pushing each other to do what you dream of. Follow your dreams, right? It's possible that the lovers and the Two of Wands are both kind of destiny cards. The Lovers are people who are supposed to be fighting monsters and destroying and rampaging, in their connection and their intimacy. And the Two of Wands is a man who's beginning to set forth on a journey. So there are several possibilities, right? The pair that are on an adventure and the beginning of a journey could mean a lot of things. It being inverted might be a failure to cross the threshold. Maybe there's a big life change that you two have been hesitating with. Whatever it might be. Sorry, dude. I don't want to give suggestions with this because when dealing with relationships and especially things it could be maybe turning down a job or not looking at a job that's in another city. You two are getting married in April. Well, with that information, we can go a little more. Yes, that is definitely important information. That's the scary thing. Okay, that's terrifying and awesome. And you two are definitely perfectly suited for this. And this inversion could be accidental, or it could just be, I don't know, stressful as hell planning a wedding. Congratulations, by the way. Seven of Pentacles. This is the goal. And again, it's inverted. So maybe this... Okay. This reading, we're cutting out inversions because this makes perfect sense right side up. This is the hard work it takes to cultivate a field. This is not necessarily your field, although this is somebody toiling to be able to unearth and be able to grow, right? The Seven of Pentacles is towards the culmination of the tree of life. And with this reading, it's saying that you guys are beginning to harvest and beginning to build that earthly connected thing. And so your goal is to be able to make it yours and to be able to, harvest that land. And when we talk about earthly things, obviously land is a big metaphor for family, wealth, all of the good stuff that comes out of the physical world. Again, inverted. Well, this one makes sense inverted, though. This one does. Four of Pentacles is the miser card, wanting to hold on to finances and wanting to be able to keep it hidden away, tucked away, so that nobody can find it. It being inverted means you're just blowing right through it, which is definitely something you're going to be doing in a wedding. Five of Chalices. Okay. Being focused on what you don't have and not appreciative of what you do. And that coming in the near future. Well, this being a wedding makes it all very complicated, right? So here you guys are at a big life change, right? Walking the path. You are growing your crops. Your goal is to be able to build a life together. It's financially draining. And here we have the fact that, what I think of with this is, getting upset about the fact that somebody got a plate, didn't eat the plate. You know what I mean? All of these things can, being focused on the wedding about the things that don't matter, maybe the financial stuff that doesn't matter so much as the family and all of the other things that weddings, that are important to weddings. Guys, I think this might be a kind of a couples reading. So it might not, I hate to say it might not need to even be a more than two persons. This might just be the only tarot reading we need to do tonight, unless somebody else wants a reading. This might work for the both of you guys. A Nine of Wands is interesting. Nine of Wands inverted means feels like you're just getting beaten up and drained of everything, as though this is just a very taxing situation. And by the way, if anybody's just joining us and you do want a tarot reading, please put tarot in the comments with an exclamation point, and we can get you written down on a list for tarot readings. So this is the mind. It's saying that you're feeling drained. You're feeling defeated, right? Nine of Wands on top is victory when right side up. Nine of Wands inverted is defeat. And so it might feel as though there's just so much going on that it's near impossible to enjoy, right? You're focused on what you don't have, and that's energy and time. And then here, oh my God. I tell you, I'm really impressed with this reading. It was strange at first. And it definitely, I don't know why everything's inverted. I think we just picked the wrong B. It should be the other way around, I imagine, with most of these. Here in your inner emotions, we have the holiday lovers card. This is two lovers on holiday who are just enjoying their time together. Michaela, may I ask you a question? How long have you two been in a relationship? And I ask that because in the inner emotions, it's saying this is like the blissful, peaceful vacation romance. And here in your soul, it looks like a more long-term, okay, year and a half. Awesome. So, and you're getting married in April. So that's 2 years. When you know, man, you know. So yeah, here we have your inner emotions are the Two of Cups, the minor arcanas, lovers card. And what we have here is the Queen of Wands. In your external universe is giving you fire, right, that you have to walk through. It's giving you roadblocks and barriers that to be able to get to your goal, you're going to have to just blaze right through. Just charge right into. Ignoring the pain, the suffering. The universe is putting blocks in your way, but they're blocks that are specifically there for you to overcome. All of this is for you to overcome. And so anything that gets in your way before April are just set there for you two together to overcome. Right. And here we have rest from strife in your hopes and fears. Obviously, I think when you're getting married, you would want to have more good times than bads. And, the suffering of life to take a very, very large back seat as often as possible. I think we all want that all the time. And here we have in the hopes that everything's going to be good and everything's going to be great. And just not a lot of struggle and strife. Honestly, Four of Swords showing up in hopes and fears, it's about as meaningless of a place you can get it. Because everybody, I think, not long, but it feels like forever. That's awesome, though. I mean, that's what you want out of a relationship, where it feels like this person I've known in past lives, like I just get them. And it's very rare that you find somebody who you just get like that. So Knight of Swords in your external universe card, or pardon me, your meditation card. The Knight of Swords, well, that's an interesting one, isn't it? The Knight of Swords is a card that represents mental assuredness, mental intelligence, swiftness. No, that's wands for the swords. Actually, no. What's Wands? Tell you what, let's consult my book. It's there for a reason, right? The Knight of Wands may portend a surge of confidence and energy, the fire catching from the sparks of the page, but do not depend on the initial fervent swell to see you through the end. Ultimately, a disciplined strategy will pay. Okay. So look, yeah, that makes sense. Okay, so this says the culmination. Look, we have the Four of Swords as your hopes. Obviously, you're getting married, man. It ain't gonna be a walk in the fucking park. You guys are gonna have a lot of challenges laying ahead of you on this path as you guys walk together. Obviously, you guys are about to spend a lifetime together. That shit ain't gonna be easy, right? If you wanna. I mean, I don't know. I don't know what your absolute distant future is. That's not for me to know here. But, you know, we're talking, tarot tends to be a lot more short term. Sometimes not, but here it definitely is. This is the buildup, right? We had all of the trials being thrown your way here, right? We have the Lover and the Two of Wands, and now we have the fact that I said earlier when I was talking about the Queen of Wands that you got to blaze through it, right? These challenges are set for you to overcome. However, at the same time, there are also challenges for you to consider and to be careful with and to talk about, right? Communication is essentially essential in a relationship, right? And especially in marriage. And so all of these things, like if one of you guys is focused on what you don't have, and by the way, if you would like a tarot reading, type tarot in the chat and you can get signed up for a tarot reading. If you're focused on what you don't have, then you're not necessarily going to notice all the great things that you do have. The Four of Pentacles is obviously the same. It's that the fact that you're drained. Actually, these two in the present, Five of Chalices, Five of Cups, and Four of Pentacles are both financially drained. I mean, this tends to be more emotional, although it could be an emotional dependence on money. So you have all of these things, and all of these things are things for you guys to conquer together, right? Because the Lovers, that's what they are, right at the core of who they are people conquering together. And yeah, so long as you guys communicate, if you take challenges together, see them as a group project, and are careful, which really is what the Knight of Swords here represents. This is the meditation card, by the way. That's what this all kind of encapsulates around. And so I tell you what, I think that this is a very interesting reading in that it directly fits perfectly with your wedding. And this is actually, I think, one of the best examples for what tarot truly is, in that it's, you let the cards speak, you interpret the cards, and you ask the universe to have them in the proper order at the proper time, and they are, right? So, Jordan, would you still like a reading? And we're at the end of this reading. This will always be up, so you guys will always have this reading to look back on. But would any, and I might even edit this into a video. I might shorten this as a little clip. But would anybody else, Jordan, would you like one? Jordan, you want a reading? Jordan, which deck would you like? And hold on, let me get them. You might have already picked out your deck, and if not, I'll be watching the chat in case you type it in. We're going to show off the decks once again. And every week we're going to have new decks available for the readings. So we have the Prima Visions. We have the Cyberpunk Neon Moon deck. We have the original, started the indie tarot movement, Naked Heart Tarot. We have these two absurd abominations, the Ghost Tarot and the Haunted House Tarot. And then we, of course, have the Witches Tarot. I'll let you choose. I still don't see which deck you've chosen, but I'm going to take a moment. I will be right back. And I'm going to mute. Awesome. The Naked Heart, the one with wolves. This is a beautiful deck. Started the indie movement. Was one, and in fact, actually, the one, when it came out, I wanted it. I wanted it more than anything. And it was one of the first, it was the deck that really inspired the full kind of collection that I have today. Because this was one that I actually watched when it was first coming out, and I got excited about. And when I pitched my own deck to the US Game Systems, they actually told me, look, we're rejecting you, but we're kind of rejecting everybody right now. And there's a big movement. And they referred me to this deck, which I had seen and I had followed when it was a Kickstarter, and reminded me of it. And so that's another thing. I'm also an artist. Let me show you. Not only do I do tarot readings, I study them because I am working on a tarot deck myself. It'll probably never be finished. But so here's one I just did this Monday while messing around in a coffee shop. It's the Hanged Man in a kind of a bubblegum sci-fi kind of style, like Marvel Comics, the deep space kind of stuff, the strange illustrations. And this one, obviously, it pulls a lot from Houdini, a little from some other things. The landscape, the Hanged Man's usually hanging from a tree. The buildings are made to look like a tree, stuff like that. And so, and here are what they look like as I work on them. So, for instance, here is an earlier version of the High Priestess I did. Here's a more recent illustration of the High Priestess. I suppose I can turn it around. And let's see. Here's a Lovecraftian kind of sci-fi horror inspired esoteric horror version of the devil. Then we have, this is one of my absolute favorites that I've done. That's really blowing my own horn. This is the Empress, and has a lot of symbolism and meaning in the illustration. I need to color this. And here we have the Nine of Cups. And there are others, although I'm not as happy with the rest that follow here. And then here we have, what is it? All of the cards that I did. These I actually colored while I was homeless. When I was setting up my ghost tour company, I spent a while really just trying to figure out what I was going to do. I was desperate. And so these were done actually colored on a phone, on a smartphone that had a stylus while I was in the state of homelessness. This one actually right here was shown in an art gallery, which I actually never collected from the art gallery. Whatever. Coronavirus happened. I kind of lost track of it all. So anyway, that's my art. Let's see. Okay, so now we're doing a reading for Jordan. And this deck, according to Julia C. Wild, has no inversion. They're just all right side up. She does not believe in inversion, and she takes an active stance against it with this deck. I disagree with her. I believe inversion is an important thing when it comes to the tarot. However, considering how much and how strongly she felt about that, we won't be doing inversion with this deck. And it's because she has designed this deck not to be inverted. And we're going to ask the cards to be in order for Jordan in 5 shuffles. In 4 shuffles. And if you're in the chat, feel free to jump in, hit subscribe, or anything along those lines. 3 shuffles. And if you type tarot with an exclamation point, or just type tarot, really, you'll be put on a list for a reading. That was 3 shuffles, so we're doing 2 shuffles now, correct? I think it's 2 shuffles left. And we're having these in order for Jordan. And final shuffle. Okay. Now, I'm not going to ask top or bottom because it doesn't matter, according to Julia C. Wild. And these have this wonderful matted finish. I love the texture on this deck right here. I love the texture of matted cards. It's not the gloss, you know. It's got this kind of heavy, smooth, but sticky. It's not sticky like actual chemical sticky, like on a Post-it, but it's sticky like it grips the skin a little bit. It's very interesting kind of texture. I love the texture of matted textures. Typically, tarot tends to be very glossy. Oh, okay. So here we have in your card, Soul, the Five of Cups. Now, it's inverted. So to me, the inverted means that you're focused on things that are ahead of you, things that are... I think I just heard a dog howl outside. Things that are ahead of you. However, or things, what you are standing to gain or what you have, and maybe missing what you might be losing, would be the inverted way of reading this. However, obviously, as I've said, the Naked Heart Tarot is not about inversions. So what this is she had it here, this card, here in her near future, but you have it in your soul. And so you might be worried about what you don't have or what you need. And you might be feeling as though there are certain things you want. Might be certain family members or something along those lines. But you might be focused on things that are unimportant in comparison to what you have. Oh, wow. So one of the coolest things, holy shit, one of the coolest things about this deck is there's actually not 78 cards in this deck. Julia C. Wilde actually included a 79th card. And you have just pulled it in your conflict. This is the Naked Heart card. It comes after the World. And it is a entirely new card created just for her deck. Now that's actually not uncommon. In the days of the Golden Tarot, in the days before the Rider-Waite standardized everything, and it took a long time for the Rider-Waite to actually standardize it. In that period, there were extra cards in other decks. Throughout the history of tarot, there have actually been a few subtle changes. It didn't start necessarily with the exact, although they've stayed relatively the same. There have been a couple of times where the universe was used or instead of the world, and there were some small shifts and changes depending on the deck. And that's what she kind of called upon when she created her own card. She felt there was something that wasn't contained in the deck that wasn't being talked about. And that is the Naked Heart, which I believe, So this is the Naked Heart. And I believe, if I were to remember, I believe it's to show yourself for who you truly are. I radiated a pure vibrational level, calling in all that I need at this time to stay in alignment with my path. The universe is highlighting my gifts and asking me to trust myself and my intuition. As I listen to what my heart needs, my natural essence comes forth to be nurtured, and I inanely connect with my calling and purpose. Comparing myself to others does not serve me and only knock me out of my flow. I was given the exact proportion of amazing, otherwise I would not exist. My path may not always feel easy, but will feel right. When I shine bright, I am the spark to someone else's light and inspire others. Well, that's pretty clear. Anyway, look. You might not be super focused on things that are important. but you are also part of the celebration of this. And it might not feel like it's a celebration of you, what you guys got coming up, but it is. It's a celebration of the two of you. And it's as much as a day for you as it is for Michaela. This is you and her. And you deserve these good things, you know? I think they're all, yeah, it's, anyway. The Page of Cups. Getting a lot of cups, a lot of emotions. And here we have Page of Cups. The kind of beginning of creativity, the beginning of flow, the beginning of art and beauty. This is kind of the starting path of expression, self-expression. You may be an artist, and actually I'd be very interested in knowing if you were an artist. This would be an expression of who you are, what you are capable of, what you're going to do. And this is in your goal. So you would like to better express yourself or create something, a painting, a book, something. There's something within you that yearns to create and to make something beautiful. And then here we have in your recent past the Seven of Pentacles, which showed up in her reading, in Michaela's reading. Where was it? Seven of Pentacles it was here. It was here. The desire to create and cultivate land. Here it's showing in yours, which is the beginning to harvest. Not necessarily your land yet, the land belonging to somebody else, but you guys are so connected, it's crazy. It really shows that you two are the lovers, the literal lovers. Like, it's very rare to see the lovers show up in actual full beauty, but it has for you two. And here, even your cards between the Five of Cups, the Seven of Pentacles. It's funny, the soul card of the Five of Cups is Michaela's future. And now her goal is showing up in your present or your recent past. So you two are super connected, and it's super interesting. There could be a lot pulled from this. And if I were a smarter man, I would be able to do so. But the Seven of Pentacles here is saying that you are beginning. Oh, are you beginning to do a Twitch streams? You should put a link to your Twitch in the chat. And that way people can view this later. And in fact, some people do watch these videos later. And so if you put a link to your Twitch, I'll watch it, and I'll have access to it when this becomes just a regular old YouTube video. And B, that chat will always show up in these videos. And so this chat will kind of always offer the link to your Twitch if you link it. And that, yes, very much so. Dude, I'll tell you, man, it is. Now, let me ask you this. Do you only want to start a Twitch, or are you also considering starting a YouTube channel? Because for me, the YouTube ended up the better platform. Although, and I actually, well, it's easier to get people to jump into YouTube than it is to get them to jump into Twitch. However, you have a much smaller pool of people watching, I believe, on YouTube who are down to watch. So it all depends. But that's very interesting. That is definitely the beginning of creativity. And I'm glad. I actually, somebody else from our group is a streamer. And or their girlfriend is a streamer. Okay, so you're beginning to cultivate. You're beginning to work on this. Oh my God! And we have the Three of Swords. This may be this is my favorite depiction of the Three of Swords in any deck ever. This is a beautiful depiction of a classic graphic design. The Three of Swords showing up here. Struggle and sorrow. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know why the sorrow card is showing up in your near future. And I think that's a really stupid card to be in your near future. With the other one in the near future, guys, I think it's just very important that we remember that the Five of Cups was in the near future here, which was the focus on what's to come. Over here, we had an outcome card that was about communication and being prepared. Well, that's wonderful. So you have video editing skills as well. Those two things are going to really combine well. Actually, I want to invite you guys to something. One of the things that we're going to be doing, me and a bunch of other people, is we're going to be doing a one shot called I think it's called Stealth the Despot, in which I'm creating a stealth invasion story where basically you just have to get in and kill a despot in a land teeming with army. And if you are seen, you are killed. You have two choices for stealth. You can be charisma stealth, which is chatting your way through and hoping you can pass bluff checks, or stealth. The thing is what we're trying to do with this is a celebration of all of the classes that aren't rogue. Whereas typically we think of stealth, obviously rogue is the number one we think about. What I want to do is like the, and I don't think anybody's made a class at this, the Ranger class, Gloomstalker, or a Shadow Sorcerer, or any of the number of other classes that have very strong ties to stealth focus. I generally love playing non-rogue stealths. The only one race, the stealth class that I play that has any rogue in it is the Death Assassin, which it only has 2 levels of rogue, which is Assassin level 1, 2 to get to Assassin. And then the rest of it is Death Cleric, so it can toll the dead and stuff like that. But anyway, you guys, we're going to be live streaming that if you guys want to jump in. Okay, so here we have, I think what we're getting here is a warning. With the sorrow, with the Five of Cups, it's saying there's obstacles in your path, right? As was before. Obstacles in the path that could derail what you guys are building here. And so, yeah, if you guys are willing to be stream like stream with me and be recorded. I'm going to put everybody in a YouTube video where I DM that game. So that's something you can do. So guys, I think that A, communication is key. B, all of this. There's a possible future, I would say here, that doesn't end as great as what we want it to be. And so it being sorrow here in the near future and the Five of Cups here in the near future for Michaela is saying that, if you guys aren't careful about the obstacles in your path, and if you don't handle them as Michaela had earlier with vision and foresight, things could be painful. And so we want to avoid that pain if at all possible. Okay, and what's on your mind is a question of the fairness of the universe. What is fair? What is okay? And good people die, evil people die. It's justice. It doesn't matter. We all die, right? Justice is impartial, but also inverted, as this is. It's super fucking partial. But again, we're not really doing the inversions with this. This is what's on your mind. You seem to maybe be preoccupied with the way things should be, or the way things are, or getting maybe a legal dispute handled. This is always, often, anywhere else. This being on your mind, it could be anything, right? It could be just something you're thinking about. Maybe you're obsessing over a court case. But this could be a decision. Usually here, it's a decision being made. Okay, and your inner emotions, it doesn't really matter because it's just something on your mind, something about fairness. Here, we have the financial balance. So whereas Michaela in the recent past had pulled in her the inability to keep her finances, the miser card that was kind of having trouble securing. Here we have your ability to balance your finances in a very delicate way. And actually, this is an emotions. So not only this is your emotional state, is your ability to manage everything going on in your life. Stay aware of everything happening. Stay in emotional control of everything that's happening. And that's what your emotional state is kind of a balanced juggle of all of the stuff that's occurring. And the universe is offering you, Jordan, complete life fulfillment. This is the fatherhood card, and this is one of the most impressive cards in the deck. This always depicts an old man, typically. I mean, not here, because it's more abstract with animals instead of people. But typically, it is an old man who has everything. A house, a family, surrounded by nice things and art. And he is the father card. This is the culmination of a life's work. And the universe is offering you all those good things. It's going to take time. It's going to take patience. It's going to be able to, obviously sorrow is going to happen, so we don't know what this is in connection to this. But this is, if you go the universe is kind of giving you this choice, This is what's being offered. And your hopes and your fears are that of being restrained and of this spiritual bliss that can come from the restraints. The Hanged Man is one of my favorite cards, because to hang, you would think, oh, well, that's an awful thing. And if you look at the line of tarot, I mean, even the Hanged Man, it immediately comes before death. Death is the card that follows immediately after the Hanged Man. But the Hanged Man, what he's actually doing is he's taking that, and all of the blood from hanging upside down is rushing to his head, and he's getting an enlightened experience. I actually found it very interesting. The Cowboy Bebop series that aired on Netflix actually shows the Hanged Man in the scene where Spike Spiegel's hanging upside down off the side of the building. And Jet's like, yo, what are you doing? And he's like, oh, I'm waiting for you to pull me up. But he ends up into this very enlightened pose, relaxed, and looking off and kind of figuring out all of the answers to all of his problems. And that's what this is right here. And so this is a good statement. This is saying, yeah, it's scary to tie yourself up, to tie yourself down, to restrain yourself from possible social engagements. But what you're obtaining is something beautiful and a far degree happier than to not have it. It's enlightening. It's spiritual. Like, this is saying the hope is that by doing all of this, you're going to be a much more spiritually complete person. And then we have the Fool, the trickster card, the goof. The man who might not necessarily be prepared for what he's walking into, or but is actually completely prepared for the adventure all the same. So think of this as Frodo Baggins. The Fool is Frodo, the Magician is Gandalf. At the start of The Hobbit, they're both going on their adventure. And I love this metaphor. Each of them are going to succeed in the story of The Hobbit. And later, you know, each of them are successful. Frodo and Gandalf are successful in Lord of the Rings, whereas Bilbo and Gandalf are successful in The Hobbit. But the Fool is constantly walking into danger, as Gandalf is not, right? Bilbo is the guy going down and having to deal with the riddles in the dark because he is a fool of a took, right? You know, he's making the mistakes. The hobbits are the fools. They're making mistakes that propel the adventure forward and add the challenges, right? The magician is ready to handle those things and is able to solve the problems. The fool is the one who ends up in the situations. But as the adventure goes on, the fool discovers the talent within himself. So in The Hobbit, for example, when all of the dwarves are captured by the spider, the fool remembers a moment in his childhood where he trained and trained and trained at throwing stones to the point that he was able to have perfect accuracy. And it's a learning period. Where Gandalf, and I would say here, metaphorically, this is probably Michaela as Gandalf, and you are Bilbo. Michaela's going to be way better at all of this than you are. She's going to be more confident. She's going to be better at handling all these things to come. And whereas you may be saying, well, I don't want to leave all my nice plates. And I don't want to leave the Shire. And in fact, actually looking back at Michaela's reading, we can see that right here was the Two of Wands, inverted, a failure to get at the path. So what this is I think all of this makes so much more sense now. Not only are there challenges ahead of the two of you guys, I'm so glad we did 2 readings, and it's amazing how they all came together here. Here we have the Fool, saying that you're not confident in your ability to defeat Smaug, right? Gandalf, we're sure, can get everything where it needs to be to just defeat Smaug. However, for you, it feels like an impossible task. You mean I got to go walk in and steal from this dragon while he's sleeping? But the Fool can, because Bilbo is actually the protagonist, right? He's the one that has the most to learn, and he's the one that has the most to gain, and he's the one that adventure was necessary for, right? Sure, the dwarves, they got their mithril mine back, and that's great for them. The humans, they don't have to worry about the fact that Smaug is breathing on their village any longer. Gandalf, you know, he was able to right a wrong in the universe that was created from the ancient evil that created the ring. Well, no. Sorry. I don't know what the fuck Gandalf wanted. I guess he just wanted to send a hobbit on an adventure and fix the problem with the dwarves. Gandalf's motivation is way less clear in The Hobbit, I'm realizing in this exact moment, than anybody else's. But Bilbo, he didn't want any of that, right? He was nervous. He didn't want to leave the shower. But what he ended up having was one of the greatest adventures there and back again, could offer. And so what you're walking into now, you might not feel like you're prepared for. You might not feel like you get it fully. But you're ready for it because you're Bilbo Baggins, man. And you'll bumble through it. You might stutter on a vow or two, but you're going to be awesome, dude. Yeah. Oh, and this could also be your live stream, couldn't it? I guess you and I are kind of in conjunction with that struggle of the live stream. Kayla does drag you to things. Yeah, man. Oh, that's the nice thing about having a good girlfriend. Is it's better to be dragged to something than not. It's a boring life if you don't got somebody to drag you to places. I'll tell you that much. Okay. So, it's a shame that it was really just the 3 of us the whole way through. If anybody, because I see there are 4 people watching, and there have been about 4 people watching the whole way. So I'm going to say this. If anybody would like a reading now, let me know in the comments or the chat. Type tarot if you want a reading. Otherwise, I think we're done. Did I adequately give you guys satisfactory readings? Would you say that this was accurate? So anybody who's watching, you can let me know. And Kayla and Jordan, do you think that these readings were accurate? It's a real dang shame that so few people showed up tonight. Let's see. Video capture. Okay, good. I'm glad to hear it. If it's okay, guys, I'm likely to re-edit this reading into a YouTube video of look what happened, look what this reading is, look at the meanings that were behind it, and how they really intersected. Because, I mean, this really does come to the reading of, you know, a woman about to be married and a man about to be married. I think what we did here with this is very much a breakdown of the feelings a man's going to have pre-marriage and the feelings a woman's going to have pre-marriage. And it's amazing to me how close these were. And I thank you guys so much. Because without you guys, tonight would have been a total bust. You guys saved the stream by being here. I can't imagine sitting here talking for 2 hours to an empty room. I do it with video games just fine, right? People jump in, they don't, doesn't matter. When it's something like tarot readings, I can't do a tarot reading if nobody's here. So thank you both so much for coming. And to the mysterious 2 other people who have been coming and going and watching, also thank you to you two. But yes, I'm gonna edit those up. I'll give you guys a link to the character creation for the stealth game, and so long as you're willing to be on video chat and to be edited into a YouTube video, you're more than welcome to play that game. And with that, we're 10 minutes away from 2 hours, which is fine. I think we're probably going to end it here. If you guys had a good time, help me get more people into this. Invite your friends, tell them about this. I'm really, really, really hoping we can find a way to make this a fun event. And I'm going to work to try to figure out exactly what to do to make this stream as appealing as possible. And with that, guys, thank you so much for being my 2 viewers tonight. I am grateful. I hope you had a good reading, and I look forward to playing some D&D with you later. And with that, thanks. Don't forget to like, subscribe if you're watching this the next day.